everyone, I'm Georgia and this is The Sound of Georgia. So last week my video was about my favourite songs in Disney movies, and today we're going to be talking about some of my favourite musical theatre songs. But as it just happened last week, it seemed like most of the songs on that list from last week were actually from movies that I really didn't have that much of a connection with. I mean, in general, that was probably my top 7 favourite Disney songs, but at least 3 of those films or movies I've only seen once, maybe twice, in my entire life. So with that in mind, today is not going to be focused on just my favourite musical theatre songs, but my favourite musical theatre songs from shows I have not seen. And this is just a random list of some of the musicals I haven't seen and my favourite songs within each of them. There are more musicals that I haven't seen that I could probably put on this list, but these are just some of them. Who knows, future video. Obviously, given that this list exists the way it does, I want to see all of these shows. And I am specifically talking about stage musicals. Many of these musicals have film counterparts, and those I have seen. But we're not counting that. Just the stage. Let's start out with the big obvious one that we can go through really quickly. And that, of course, is Hamilton. I made a whole video back at the beginning of the year about how I think this is my favourite musical ever, even though I haven't seen it. And 2021 cannot come soon enough. But as you'll know if you've seen some of my other videos, you'll know it's all but impossible for me to rank Hamilton songs. But for the most part, my favourite is Burn. So moving on, because it is easier for me to choose my favourites with all these other musicals. Next up we have the big musical itself, Phantom of the Opera. This one is kind of interesting because there are about 4 that I like almost just as much as each other. And those would be Think of Me, Angel of Music, Phantom of the Opera, and Music of the Night. Those were definitely my favourites for a long time. Almost equally, actually, in a sense, but now I would probably say it's The Phantom of the Opera and Wishing You Were Somehow Here Again. Love Never Dies is still my favourite song out of both of those musicals though. But I've seen Love Never Dies, so that doesn't count. And I have seen the film 25th Anniversary Phantom at the Royal Albert Hall on DVD, but I haven't seen it at the theatre. And I've seen the film version, but we don't talk about that. As I said, a lot of these have corresponding films, and in that case I have seen them. As is the case with our next 2, which are both written by Rodgers and Hammerstein. Next up we have The King and I, and that one is absolutely Shall We Dance. A lot of the times with other musicals, and by that I mean not Hamilton or Wicked or My Fair Lady or Sound of Music, which are my top 4 stage musicals of all time, I actually find myself kind of really liking some of the songs in the musicals and then just thinking some of them are okay. Like the 4 musicals I just mentioned, pretty much all of the songs are on a level playing field. They're relatively close to each other in terms of how much I love them. Though my mum and I kind of did make up a spoof of Getting to Know You regarding my high school principal, but I probably shouldn't talk about that anymore. My favourite definitely is Shall We Dance. Then my next one is Oklahoma, and that one is the title song at the end. Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plain. Yeah, I mean, quite honestly, most of the songs in Oklahoma I just think are okay. Oh What a Beautiful Morning is pretty good and I really like the title one. But other than that, they're just, yeah, they're fine. So now we've had 2 incredibly popular musicals, 2 Rodgers and Hammerstein ones, and the next ones all relate to Julie. These are 3 of the 5 musicals Julie ever did on the stage. The other 2 are My Fair Lady, which I've already seen, and Putting It Together, which is a compilation jukebox kind of one for a whole bunch of Stephen Sondheim's songs. And because it's a jukebox one, I don't think it's really fair for me to pick a favourite in that one because they're all from different shows. So if I had to pick one for just that show, it would probably be Getting Married Today. But that's actually from Company, so it's a little different. But next up we have the first ever musical Julie did ever, The Boyfriend, back in 1954. So it turned 65 this year, and I think next week is actually the anniversary. So next week's video should be a Today in Julie Andrews history video. This one I'd actually be a little surprised if I ever got the opportunity to see it. I have a feeling it's not around that much. And this one's also a little tricky because unlike Oklahoma and King and I, there isn't really a standout for me. But unlike Hamilton or Wicked or Sound of Music or My Fair Lady or the ones I mentioned earlier, they're not really on an incredibly high level. Like, I don't know if I'd say I absolutely love any of the songs in this musical. I would just say I really like them. I don't know if any of them could be pushed into the love category. But my favourite would probably be I Could Be Happy With You. Though I do remember the first time I listened to Poor Little Pureit, I went, oh my god, it's the other half of that song from Star. That song being Parisi and Pierrot. And I finally understood all that. But my favourite would be I Could Be Happy With You. So next up is Camelot, which is the third musical Julie ever did. My Fair Lady was right between the two, so this is the third. The really fast bits that Julie sings in The Lusty Month of May and Take Me to the Fair are brilliant, but What Did the Simple Folk Do is hands down my favourite. It's actually my ringtone. That bit in the middle, arise my love, a pall is lighting the skies, my love. That bit is perfect for a ringtone. Also, this was the song that got her Mary Poppins. And finally on this list we have Victor Victoria. Yes, this had a stage version. Obviously it was a film first, but Julian Blake did turn it into a musical in 1995. And honestly, I highly doubt it will ever hit the stage again, simply because of that. If it does come back, it'll be a special anniversary production directed by Julie, like she did with My Fair Lady in 2016 or The Boyfriend back in 2004. So I've seen the stage production as it was filmed and put on DVD, and obviously I've seen the movie, but I did not see it at the theatre because it came out the year I was born. But given the film of Victor Victoria is bigger than the stage version, I'm going to count my favourite song as my favourite musical only song, because this list is about stage musical songs. And my favourite musical only song from Victor Victoria would have to be Almost a Love Song. And technically I'd say Crazy World is my favourite overall, but Crazy World is in the movie. Almost a Love Song is not. So for the purposes of this list, Almost a Love Song. And that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what are some of your favourite musical theatre songs, whether they be from musicals you've already seen or musicals you actually haven't seen but really want to, and what musical you haven't seen but really would like to. I'm sure you all know my answer to that question. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my video next week. So long, farewell!